Welcome into another exciting edition of Locked On 76ers. Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta. Hey, Keith, remember that nice train of optimism we were riding the last couple of shows? Remember that? Remember how fun that was?
Yeah, they had to kill it.
Well, it's over already, thanks to not only a veteran, but a former teammate of Paul George. Had to be a buzzkill. Talk about that and more on this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And yes, we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. Visit FanDuel.com to get started and download the app today. I was having some fun there, Keith. I had told you weeks ago I am desperate for optimism, and then not even a desperate man got a great little nugget of optimism with the Joel Embiid footage. Great nuggets of optimism, even regarding Paul George. And we talked about this yesterday. The Athletic calling him the sixth best wing in the NBA, in the association. That's a great thing. And then this story started to snowball. Now, we talked about Paul George's former teammate, Jeff Teague, 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Ben Simmons. Because if you remember the story from the Jeff Teague podcast was that Ben Simmons is happy with making $203.5 million in his career. Yeah, not going to surprise me at all if he retires. Probably should retire. He's had a great career in terms of making that money, making that back. So we've talked about Jeff Teague. And to be honest with you, Jeff Teague is not at the forefront of my mind most days, Keith Pompey. But on the heels of the Sixers releasing a second workout video, not with Joel Embiid, just photos of Joel Embiid, I'm again feeling at the height of optimism as far as this offseason goes. And then the story picks up, as I said, snowballs. Jeff Teague calling his former teammate, Paul George, flat out cooked.
Yeah.
We've used the term for Joel Embiid. We haven't used it yet for Paul George. I would absolutely leave it alone if it was somebody that never played with PG, but they played, that 1 year together in Indiana with the Pacers. He did call Paul George like the coldest guy, one of the coldest guys he's ever played with. But right now at this stage of his career, cooked. That's a buzzkill right there.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because the quote, the way he said it was, he just came out and said, Paul George is cooked. Then he repeated himself.
Yeah.
Paul George is cooked. One of the coldest players I ever seen play basketball. Cooked. Right? It's kind of weird because, like, when it comes from a guy like that, sometimes you could say a guy, like you said, a guy is just hating. Like, right. You guys were teammates. And you remember, like, last year when they talked about how Paul George, or was it last year or 2 years ago? But it was last year, about this time, where they talked about how Paul George wanted the final shot of the game. Like, apparently Paul didn't get the ball, and then they gave him the ball. And then next thing you know, like, he misses it. And so they were clowning him. So when you hear something like this, you're saying, okay, you and PG don't get along, or maybe you don't have respect for him, or, whatever it is. But then you also think about it, like, this is a guy who played in the league for a long time, a guy who was an all-star, a guy who won the championship with the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's still relevant, right? So when he says that, you wonder what people think of Paul George. And I will say this, like, last year, towards the end of the season, or when Paul was playing, there were, like, league scouts at the 76ers game. And other people was like, look at him. He doesn't want it anymore. Look, he's not even focused. Like, they would say certain things about PG. But at the same time, that was their opinion just based on the situation. And we know the situation was a poor one. We also know that PG was injured, right? But they didn't want to hear any of that. So the thing is, everyone has an opinion right now. But as I said yesterday, we won't find out until he gets out there. Like, we won't find out, is he actually cooked, or was he injured? Was he in a frustrating situation? how does he, we'll learn more, but it's crazy how the guy just came out and said cooked. Like it was like exclamation point. Cooked.
Yeah.
Cooked.
It was
like it wasn't like it's crazy.
No, you're exactly right. You know what it was? It was a brick wall to the conversation they were having on their show, because I'm listening to it and I'm waiting for the cooked line. Whenever I read, a headline or something, and then I'll read the story, I want to know the context, right? So I'll actually click on the link and I'll go to the story, or I'll look it up myself, and I'll watch like the 5 minutes leading up to the line and 5 minutes after, just to get a better sense of the context. And they're during the show, they're like, oh, Sixers, they got some young guys, Tyrese Maxey can score, and Jared McCain's going to be his backup. And I really like that Quentin Grimes guy, and Kelly Oubre might get traded. He could still give you some stuff, but he might get traded and bring you back something in return. You could get a, good number 2 pick. You could get a big man, whatever. They're like kind of talking mostly in positive vibes surrounding the Sixers. And then they bring up Paul George, and that's the part you're mentioning right there. Cooked. Now, the line that he has before he says he's cooked, one of the coldest guys he's ever played with, one of the coldest guys he's ever seen play, that almost to me gives more credibility to the opinion, unfortunately, of him being cooked, because it shows that he's given him some flowers. He's acknowledging the great player he once was, but now saying at this point in time, he's almost going to be like a roadblock to the development of the younger Sixers on this team. Again, in the vein of Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe, they also spoke highly of, and Tyrese Maxey, but basically just coming right out and just saying, oh yeah, cooked. It makes it seem like he is going to halt the progress of the younger players on this team, aside from just struggling in his own right.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that one, though. Like,
what do you disagree with?
Well, with him saying is like holding them back, right? Because I still think that, you know what? Here's the thing about Paul George. Now, the one thing that we'll say about Paul George is that even when he was on the top of his game, the biggest criticism I think that people had for him was they felt like he wasn't selfish enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning like he didn't have that Kobe or Michael Jordan type gene, like spread the floor, F everyone in front of me, I'm about to take it, I'm not passing the ball. With a lot of people felt like Paul George was a little bit too much of, hey, look, man, I got a great shot. I got a good shot, but this guy over here has a great shot. I'm going to give him the ball. But for him to be the best player in your team, you wanted him to be a little bit more selfish. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, where I think is, if Paul George isn't the same player that he is, right, he's going to be the type of guy that's going to try to get others involved if he's healthy or if he's doing certain things, right? He's going to be the type of guy that's going to say, hey, look, Rook, come over here. Young guy, come over here. This is the shots we're going to get up after practice. These are the certain things we can do. Like when we look at Paul George, I think a lot of people looked at him as coming to the 76ers to be the savior. But no, he was looking there to be a complimentary player. They just had to overpay for it, to get him, right? Even when he was with think about it. When he left the Indiana Pacers and went to the Oklahoma City Thunder, he was Robin to Westbrook's Batman. The same thing with the Clippers, right? So now he's coming here and he's Alfred. They want him to be Alfred, right? They do. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, Joel Embiid is Batman, Tyrese Maxey is Robin, and his role was to be Alfred. So, when they say that, you can say, okay, he's cooked, we'll find out. But when you say like a guy like VJ Edgecombe, a guy like Jared McCain, people like that is going to stunt their growth, I disagree. Because when we think about this, who was Jared McCain playing with last year when he started getting all those shots? It was PG. It was like he would come down, he would pass the ball to PG. PG would let him get open, and then he would dish to him, and then he would rain and get the three. So, we'll find out if he's cooked, but at the same time, I know what Teague was saying. I don't see it that way in regards to young guy. I honestly think that he's going to be beneficial to their careers, right? I do think so. He's going to be beneficial to the development of those other two.
I'll put it to you like this. I agree. If he's not cooked, I think, he'll share the basketball. He won't be a selfish player, and I don't mean it in that regard. I'm thinking more along the lines of, is he going to be available more than 41 games this year or less than 41? Like, is he going to be the guy that's like, no, I can play now. Oh, wait, no, find a new way to play without me. Oh, no, I'm going to go now. Oh, find a way to play without me again. Like, that kind of, like, the growth overall of the team and the younger players that are going to be the core of the team. But I don't, and my mistake, I don't mean to imply he's a selfish basketball player. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about not what you said, more so like what Teague said. You know what I mean? This and that. But
okay,
I got you.
Fair enough.
But that's cool. Now here's the thing: like the crazy part, and I brought this up before, was when I went to that preseason game last year in Minnesota, and Maxey had a tough time bringing the ball up, and distributing the rock, and the offense was stagnant. Man, PG turned into point forward, and like for 3 straight possessions, I was like blown away. Like, whoa, this is great. Then, unfortunately, 2 games he missed the next game because they all rested that game, and then the following game, preseason game, they go to Atlanta, and that's when he first hyperextended his knee. So to me, like we'll find out just how bad he was. You know what I mean? Like if it was cooked. Is he cooked or what have you? But I mean, I don't know. Like I'm just telling you, like from what I saw that game against Minnesota, and the offense looked a whole lot better, and Kelly Oubre benefited greatly from it. So when you have him, if he can do those things, if he can, and you have like a VJ Edgecombe in there with his slashing ability, you know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of easy looks for that guy playing next to PJ.
My 2 big asks, and you can tell me what you think, but my 2 big asks of Paul George this upcoming season: give me the 41% again from 3 that you had in your final year with the Clippers. Let me see that again, please, and thank you. And as you pointed out, in the event that this team needs that point forward, if you could be that guy again, then by all means, take the reins. I'd love to see that from Paul George in his second year with the Sixers.
I mean, if they do that, and if Embiid is healthy, whatever, they can be competitive. I get. I mean, but the problem is they're not as deep as other teams, but they can be competitive. The problem is, when are they coming back?
By the way, is this the most we've ever used the word "cooked" in an offseason? Now we're using it for Paul George.
No,
I thought it was just
in the offseason.
I thought Joel Embiid just said, in the offseason, right? Yeah. I thought Joel Embiid was just the guy that was cooked. What the hell, man?
Yeah. But the crazy part, the Sixers normally win the offseason. They're normally like the darlings of the offseason. Everybody's raving over them. And this offseason, cooked, finished.
Yabu's gone.
Yeah. Quentin Grimes watch.
All day, man. All day. Somebody was like, you guys going to talk about this every day? I'm like, yeah, it's literally the story of the offseason. 30 seconds on it each show is worth it. By the way, I know that when the Sixers release video of practice, I'm supposed to be all excited and stuff, right? There's something that if I had to, again, be the detective here, there's something I don't like. Something doesn't pass the smell test, Keith Pompey. And I don't like it one bit. I'll tell you what it is when we come back. This is Locked On 76ers and the Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. Let me tell you right now about the incredible energy boost of 5-Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most about the portable 5-Hour Energies is just that. You can throw them in your go bag, you can throw them in your work bag, whatever. You can throw them in the glove compartment. Need that boost? There you go, right there with 5-Hour Energy. Always reach for my favorite flavor, the grape. It's amazing, and I've been eyeing up some of these other flavors as well that you guys got to make sure that you sample. Honestly, I love how fast it kicks in as well. And did I mention it's sugar-free? I got enough sugar in my diet. Don't need it in my 5-Hour Energy boost. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5, hourenergy.com, or check them out at Amazon today. So, Keith, we see Kelly Oubre in the latest release of the Sixers workouts at Camden.
Mm-hmm.
We see Kelly Oubre. We see VJ Edgecombe. We see these guys moving around doing some things. Everything with Joel Embiid was a still shot. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2. Here it is, courtesy of the 76ers on our show. For the people listening on the podcast, I'm showing a picture of Joel Embiid and VJ Edgecombe just chopping it up at practice. How's Joel Embiid's knee look in this picture, Keith?
You can't see it, right?
You can't see it, can you? The first one we saw him move. He had no knee brace on. That was one of 2 pictures that they released without being able to see whether or not he had a knee brace on or seeing his knee at all. And again, no video, just stills of Joel Embiid at practice. This is enough to make the paranoid Sixers fan in me go, what the hell, man? Why didn't you guys double down on all that excitement that you guys had for the 5-second video of Joel Embiid, just making a little move on a coach before he pops a jumper? Where's that video again? We got VJ Edgecombe throwing it down twice. Only Joel Embiid moving around once. I'm not implying anything other than I don't like it one bit, Keith Pompey.
Yeah, that's the thing about when you see these preseason videos, right? Or anything cuts. We talked about it before, you hope that Joel was like happy or didn't say anything that you guys took a video of me. But you are 100% correct. Like, here's the thing. The thing that stood out to me with this thing was, if you notice, you saw everyone with the blue jerseys on and then the gray jerseys. Typically, the blue jerseys for the Sixers are the starters. The gray jerseys are the backups in scrimmaging. So you saw Joel with that. You could put it back up for a second. You see Joel with the white T-shirt on. He doesn't even have a jersey on. So to me, the question that I have is, was he scrimmaging with the team or was he just getting the workout in, right? You know what I mean? Like while they were scrimmaging, was he doing side work or was he doing some other things? So the question is that you ask, well, is he close to coming back? Is he close to returning? Now, again, the thing about these videos, they're only going to show you what they want to show you, right? So, Joel could have possibly scrimmaged yesterday, but they're not going to show you that, right? Because maybe they don't want to. They want to keep it open. But to me, when I see these videos, it leaves me some unanswered questions. Now, the one thing that we do know is that Joel Embiid, from a weight standpoint, he looks good, right? Another thing that the video says is that he's out there coaching up VJ Edgecombe. So from a leadership standpoint, it gives you the impression that he's being more of a leader now than he has in the past. Like, he's coaching these guys up, telling them what to do. But the one thing, I know in your opinion, is one of those things where, yes, I don't see the knee. Does he have a brace on now? What's going on? Can he cut? Can he do this? Can he do a lot of things, right? So, right then and there, like, I'm kind of like 3 times. He says they're trying to sell tickets. That is correct. Jay Wright says doubt Embiid was scrimmaging. I doubt if he was scrimmaging too. But again, I don't have any word to say if he was, if he wasn't, no proof. But when I look and I see that the other guys had on jerseys and he just had on a regular white shirt, maybe he's not ready to return to 100%, like how some people are getting excited for. But I will say that the thing that stood out to me the most was, outside of him having that shirt on, was the weight loss. And that's the thing that the 76ers want to get out there. They want to build excitement over that, right? But as you said, it didn't show any other thing because it didn't show enough for people, but it is building excitement.
I'll say this, though. When it comes to that whole idea of selling tickets, which I totally agree with when people were talking about that before. By the way, I'm going back and looking at last week's video of Joel Embiid shooting. Again, just the white cutoff sleeve shirt. Not a jersey. Not a jersey.
Not a jersey.
So I also would venture to guess he's not running with the team. And I think the best evidence to support that theory is if he was running with the team, the 76ers wouldn't release a 5-second video of him shooting around. They would release him running with the team and doing something because, ticket sales, Keith, would be flying if they're showing that. So if it did exist, I believe we would see that. Like, I don't think it's like the NFL where they don't want anyone to know what they're doing. You know, they don't want anyone to know what's going on in practice. No, they want to scream it from the rooftops that Joel Embiid is running with the team. Now, the other thing is, you mentioned him, and this has been a big conversation point over the offseason with you. You mentioned him going to, or at least looking like he's talking to VJ Edgecombe, looking like he wants to be more of a leader, being with the younger guys and all that stuff. Joel Embiid, can we agree that Joel Embiid is vain? Like, can we agree that vanity is a thing with him? Like, he cares about what people think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. We can agree.
Okay, we can agree on that. I think he understands what his legacy is right now. And as someone, and I love this about him, and as a father, I love this. I have the same thought. Like, what are my kids going to think of me, about what other people tell them about me and my own legacy and all that stuff? You know, just in my own personal life, not anything to do with the NBA, obviously. But I think it really does matter to him what his legacy is over the course of his post-playing career, to have those kind of special moments with his son being at games and whatnot. I think that really does matter to him. And I don't think he wants to go out as a guy that just got paid a boatload of money. I mean, really a boatload of money in his career, but a boatload of money for doing next to nothing in the final 4 years of his professional career, which is what we could be looking at right now. So maybe part of his legacy is, if I can't be, okay, let me say that. Maybe he can still be what he's been on the court when he's healthy. But if he can't be, he's at least going to be the guy to help usher in the next generation of the 76ers and do whatever he can. Do whatever he can physically to help them along, but then also do whatever he can with his untapped veteran leadership now and his status on the team as a veteran. Do you think that's motivating for him?
I do, because I think, like, when you look at it, this is, I'm not going to say arguably, I'm saying this is definitely the most important season of his career. And I mean, because when you look at it, we're talking about a guy who played, 19 games last year. What was it, 39 the seasons, 39 the season before that, right? You know, here's a guy who has 3 years left on his contract after this season, right? So 4 years left. So when you think of that and you look at, you know, we're talking about a guy who was on pace to win 3 consecutive scoring titles, a guy who some people think should have won 2 consecutive MVP awards, and possibly 3, because some people think he was robbed the year before he lost it, right? So when you bring all that stuff up and you look at it and you're saying that we have him rated the 54th, talking about Locked On, the 54th best guy, 53rd or 54th best guy in the NBA, top 100. This is a vital season for Joel, the most 52nd. 52nd. So, you know, so when you factor that in, you say to yourself, it's like, this is probably going to be the most important season for his legacy. Because from here, if he struggles again, people are going to say, oh, he's cooked. If he plays well, they're like, yeah, look at him. He overcame injuries. If he doesn't play to his standard, but like you said, shows that leadership, you know, passing the ball, being a great teammate, setting other teammates up, people are going to look at him. He's the reason why they won. You know, look at Joel Embiid. To me, this is the most important season. And he knows that because, you know, you look at him, he's in great shape from a weight standpoint. But I also do think that those videos and the photos that go out, because of him worrying about what people think and what people say, I think they run it by him, right? Okay, we're going to put this out there. We're going to do this. Okay, we're going to take a picture of you shooting jumpers. How do you feel about that? Now, everyone doesn't have that luxury, but I do think that when you're a MVP type player, you know, a future Hall of Fame type player coming off of an injury, a guy who doesn't want his medical out there and stuff like that. I think when they do when they do post videos and photos of him, they run it by him. You know what I mean? They do, because I think he doesn't want any negative stuff out there.
Love it. I love that, and I also love the idea of, and I get that. I should say I get that when it comes to Joel Embiid. But there's one last thing I love on these videos coming out here and these pictures. They're at Camden. They're at the practice. This isn't like some open run that guys are like, you know, maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. You know, this is a team activity that they're doing together on team grounds. And I think that shows unity, and that's not something the Sixers have obviously always had. And you know what else it is, Keith? A bit of a culture shift, which we all know the 76ers need. When we come back, we got to give us our latest installment of Grimes Watch. We'll also give you a couple of the comments here on our comment section. That's when we return. This is Locked On 76ers on the Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. Back after this. FanDuel. Hope you guys are having a good time with all FanDuel has to offer, because it's always a great time, especially with the NFL season well upon us now. FanDuel making sure you get ready for kickoff and game day with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on FanDuel, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the FanDuel app by going to FanDuel.com. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building in-game parlays, even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every single game day that much more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. Quick, easy, and the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sundays or game days in general. So what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com to get started and place your first $5 bet for a chance to win if it hits. $300 in bonus bets across the app with FanDuel.com. Oh, hey, wait. Okay. Is that Dario on the page? You got the Inquirer open up to a million years ago?
Yes, sir. This is when Dario, you remember when Dario finally showed up?
Hell yeah.
This was on July the 15th. It's actually the July 16th paper. So it happened on July the 15th, 2016, when everyone was like, Dario. Yo, I'll be honest with you. What Dario did was a cautionary tale. And what I mean by that is Dario was extremely loyal to the 76ers. And I get it. Like, because he promised them, he says, I'm going to come over a year early. People forget this. If Dario would have held out and waited, right, he would have became unrestricted free agent. And he would have garnered a lot of money, right? But what Dario did was he's told Sam Hinkie and he promised them and said, I'm going to come over. I'm going to get out of my I'm going to come over. And that way they were able to sign him to his rookie deal. But if he would have waited another year, he would have been a free agent. And at that time, his stock was high. So he would have garnered a lot of money. And but the thing is, what I mean is cautionary tale is because, remember, they traded him. He never got that bag that everybody thought he probably would have received. And now he's, just a role player, a journeyman around the league. So, but yeah, that was back during the glory days when everybody was like, Dario. Great guy though.
Right now he's made, according to Pro Basketball Reference. Now, I understand to you, the average Joe, Jane, whoever, this is a lot of money. But to Dario, you're talking about a guy who could have made this over a couple years. He's been in the league since 2016. He's made just under $45 million in his career. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to feel sorry for him, but compared to the market he's in, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, but, that's a lot. I mean, like, yo, please let me get that money. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like that rookie deal. He would have been a free agent. And because everyone was high on him, he was the guy. Like a lot of these dudes, Dario, Joel, MCW, all these guys, like their rookie years, they were the guy. You know what I mean? Like MCW was rookie of the year. And it's funny how, Dario's still in the league, but he didn't get the payday that a lot of people expected him to get. You know what I mean? He didn't get it. Yeah.
Poor guy. No, but I understand. No, I agree. Oh, by the way, has Quentin Grimes signed yet?
Quentin who?
Yeah, I know, right?
No, he hasn't. I mean, again, I still think, like, I'm looking at it, you're seeing the 76ers, at least yesterday in that one scrimmage that I saw or whatever, or like the videos or shirts, you see Kelly Oubre out there with a blue jersey on. You see Kelly Oubre out there with a blue jersey. You see VJ Edgecombe out there with a blue jersey. You see Tyrese Maxey with a blue jersey. Quentin Grimes, at least you can go out there and see what your starting lineup is going to be, right? You can have that. The one thing that I noticed, though, and it makes me wonder, like, what were they doing? Because I saw one photo where I saw Drummond with a gray jersey on. So when I saw him with a gray jersey, well, then it makes you think, well, did Embiid take some reps? Like, who knows? You know what I mean? It just leaves a lot of questions to be answered. But, yeah, I mean, when they get Quentin Grimes, and I do think that if you're Nick Nurse, like I said yesterday, you want to get this thing done rather sooner than later. Because as much as Jeff Teague was trashing Paul George, he was raving over Quentin Grimes, right? So, it's one of those things where, I mean, let's face it, if Quentin Grimes could be what Paul George was, that's asking a lot of his career, like when Paul George was in his prime, then the Sixers should be straight. And then no one's going to question how much money is he worth, 20, 25, 18, whatever. But, I do think that Nick Nurse, you got to give this guy a chance. And you got to give him a chance from day one. Like, ideally, you would want him there now because although training camp is going to start in a couple weeks, right now is the time that a lot of the guys are in there. Not a lot, but the majority of the players, most of them, if not all, are out there working out, doing some team bonding, getting stuff in there, getting it in there together. That if you're Nick Nurse, you want Quentin Grimes in there yesterday. You want him in there yesterday so he can form and gel and bond with his teammates. That's what you want.
Hell yeah. 3 times says that's what we actually need from Joel Embiid. He's got to all be a leader, take accountability. I agree with that. Jay Wright, I don't think it's that Jay Wright, but Jay Wright says, what's the likelihood of Embiid playing games without a knee brace this year? I'd say 0.
It's weird. Like, I don't know what the progression is. Like, typically they say, how far it is. Typically what they say is, like, if you come back from, like, a knee injury, the year, like, normally you have time off, and then you typically keep your knee brace on for, like, several months. And then, like, a year and a half out or whatever, you can take it off. But again, he had another surgery, right? Now, I don't know how detailed that surgery was. We just know it was a scope. But, I think from a health standpoint, you would want him, just because this is a knee where he keeps re-injuring it, that you would think that you would want that to continue just from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, give me the, what was it? Robert Parrish always wore the knee pads, the huge knee pads. Like, just give me the most precaution you could possibly give me. That's what I want. Be as cautious as humanly possible. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Keith Pompey. My name is Marc Farzetta. We're going to be back with you guys tomorrow for another edition of Locked On 76ers. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe, like and subscribe to Locked On 76ers. And also, Locked On Top 100, Locked On NBA Top 100 is here, and it's been here, voted on by NBA hosts and Locked On Podcast Network. Our Top 100 was formed by experts that cover these players every day. Find the full list of Locked On Sports today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Don't miss our reaction to it as well, with Keith and I reacting to Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey and their rankings on the top 100 list. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. See you then.